hang out in the matters of the court. A case is only as strong as its evidence. In confirmation of this legal maxim, the Kogi State Governorship Elections Petitions Tribunal sitting in Abuja has upheld the election of Usman Ododo of the All Progressives Congress, APC, as the governor of the state. The tribunal dismissed the petition of Murtala Ajaka of the Social Democratic Party for failure to substantially prove allegation of irregularities during the election as required by law. Also, the Bayelsa State Governorship Election Petitions Tribunal, sitting in Abuja, has upheld the re-election of Governor Douye Diri, and a three-member panel led by Justice Adekunle Adeleye dismissed the petition of the candidate of the All Progressives Congress in November 11th election in the state, Timipre Sylva, for lack of merit. GKB, it's usually said, he who alleges must prove. And in this case, it went against Timipre Sylva in favor of Douye Diri. What do you make of the outcome of the judgment?
Well, once the miracle of the lion happened 4 years ago, because normally Bayelsa is PDP leaning. I don't want to say PDP states, the PDP leaning states. So the man has consolidated himself. So to get the evidence, it's very difficult. The one that really tinkled my fancy is the one in Kogi.
Right.
Because Ajaka thought with the level of PR that we had, we thought he had enough evidence that he thought he had to overturn the election. But he has 2 more steps to go. So anything can still happen.
2 more steps in this case, appeal to Supreme Court. So you are hopeful that he might...
No, that's not
you can't
hope for him now.
Okay, well, I understand. That's having nothing to do with you.
This is not the end of the road.
Right.
They still have 2 more steps to go. And then maybe, because you all know that we know cases where people have lost, and the tribunal and the appeal court, and they got relief and the Supreme Court, and vice versa. You know, people who had won at the tribunal and at the appeal court and lost Supreme Court. So I don't really put much emphasis on tribunal judgments, because I know we still have a long way to go. But Ododo, at least he will sleep better tonight. Very fully well that there's one each bone removed from his throat. And now these things he has done, apart from meeting with the NSA, as part of what he has done.
Paul, you know, it still raises the question of elections being, will I say, validated in courts, because that is exactly what we see. When we see elections, okay, you have a grouse against elections, you take it to court so that you can have your victory cemented. But what do you make of the way, you know, how our cases, or rather how elections are conducted, but the victories are upheld in courts?
I have many things in my head to say about this thing. Let me try and organize my thoughts.
Right.
Let me just answer your question first, but you may permit me to say a few things after that. So it's very, very unfortunate that we wait for the courts to validate
election victories.
Sometimes the people that come to the court or tribunal have valid cases. Sometimes even a layman, an intelligent layman, may be able to see that this man has no case. But I think some politicians are incurable optimists. And their lawyers will not even advise them. Or even, I also actually heard a lawyer who said that even when we advise, they still go ahead and say, go and do it. Maybe sometimes to give the impression to their fans, to their supporters, that yes, they made spirited efforts to reclaim a mandate they never had. Now, why am I saying some of these things? Now, I cannot predict the outcome of all this whole thing in the higher courts. But a few things are in my head, like I said. Number one, in one of the cases, that's the one in Bayelsa, they brought additional proof of evidence after the initial petition had been filed. I thought any lawyer should understand. The Court of Appeal made a pronouncement on this in Peter Obi, is that Atiku versus Tinubu, Abi? presidential election, that you cannot go and bring additional evidence after 21 days. Yeah. The Supreme Court upheld the same thing, and then lawyers are still doing the same at the tribunal level. I don't know whether these lawyers are doing this thing deliberately. I don't know whether it is ignorance. I don't know whether it is mischief. Until you get that law, it has become a law. Until you go and tinker with the Constitution or the Electoral Act, and you get whatever laws, I'll ask for that. Until you do that, you cannot bringing the same argument to the lower court, because you will always lose. And sometimes judges who have not studied, or for whatever reason, maybe they are also ignorant of, some of them will even make pronouncements until the Court of Appeal will say, look, there's already a judicial precedent on this matter. Now, many people, even educated people, I'm so sorry, many of them are too emotional when it comes to legal issues. Many of them have not educated themselves enough to know how the legal process works. The tribunal will not go, or a court will not go and look for evidence for you. The court is not the police. The court is not bound by public opinion. 90% of the public might think one way. The court will only work based on procedures, evidence that you bring. Look at the case of certificate forgery that was dismissed by the tribunal against Ododo. Somebody came and said, the star witness that said he was not even in Kogi. You understand? He even claimed that what he saw, it had no picture of the governor, the affidavit there. Whereas court records showed, the one in the court record showed his picture. You see the inconsistency. The man, and that was a star witness. And then some people will say, for example, the tribunal dismissed that. And some people will just say, no, they have collected money. They have done this one. They have done that. Educated people behaving like illiterates. I don't understand. See, I don't need to like Ododo before I say the truth about him. I don't need to be your fan. Esther, look, I may not like you. If you are richer than I am, I don't have to deceive myself that I'm richer than you. What with my lies? How will my lies invalidate the truth? You understand what I'm trying to say? If I don't have money, I don't have money. You may be a bad person. You may be nasty. But it does not change the fact that you are richer than I am. So I cannot go and be carrying a placard. I'm richer than Esther, simply because I don't like you. I don't need to like Ododo. I don't need to like Douye Diri. But the truth of the matter is that these people, as far as I can see, from a layman's perspective, and from a journalist who has studied, in fact, by the way, I was a judiciary correspondent for many years before I became an editor. Now, the point I'm trying to make here is that I can see from a perspective that some of the pronouncements made by these judges are valid in the two cases. In the Kogi, it's not because I like, if you want me to analyze Ododo, if you want me to analyze him, his first year in office, I'm not going to say things that are very complimentary. I don't think he has performed. You understand? I think his government is a disaster. You know what? But however,
it's not up to a year.
Okay, it's true. It's not to a year. I'm sorry. I was thinking it's not to a year. In the few months he has been in the office. Okay, maybe I'll be able to assess him better when the next one in the office. But for now, I don't think he's a star performer. I think he has underperformed. I think he's not even showing any promise. That's my honest opinion. You may disagree with it. Now, however, I have not, based on what I see so far, I do not think that Ajaka has any case. I think that the wise men of the tribunal have made sound decision. I also think in the case of Douye Diri, the tribunal also made sound decision. I think lawyers should stop deceiving politicians, or politicians should stop allowing themselves to be deceived by lawyers who just want to make money off them.
So is it the case of the lawyers profiteering from the ignorance of these politicians, or
not profiteering?
So what
is business? Profiteering means they are doing something illegal. To go to court is not illegal.
Right.
No matter how I will know people. I remember the one in the Bible about the baby and two mothers. Some people will go to the last breath to ensure that they get justice, whatever that means. But having said that, I think that our politicians should learn to take it in good faith. Not this circle. Because there's enough poison to go around everywhere when it comes to people disputing results. Now, in this country where people are telling us what the law was, well, common sense, Remember the Abuja thing? When senior people with grey beard and white hair are talking to authorities. How people in Abuja are superior to everybody else. And they are the ones who are voting the president because they are peculiar and special. When even my 12-year-old daughter knows that as far as democracy is concerned, it's one man,
one vote.
So we are about to see things like this. Again, like I said, I will only take a position once the Supreme Court. Because I know a case. He knows the case. The man was already packing his load. The man is now a superstar somewhere in Abuja. So when he was governor-elect, he lost at the, if you remember, I don't want to mention names. He lost at the tribunal. The case was valid. He lost at the appeal. Everybody said this case was. So everybody, he has already packed. He has packed his load when the judgment came in at 5-4. That is the was legally designated as governor of Rivers State. Governor of that state. That's how it works. So I don't take positions until the Supreme Court have decided.
Let's give it the final decision.
Let me fully say this.
Right.
I think we need to make adjustments to our law. It's very bad that somebody would have been a beneficiary of an election that could still be invalidated after he has spent many months or even more than a year. Why can't we make it that all issues are resolved before people are sworn in? For example, this is your presidential election. You don't need to go and start from the Court of Appeal. The Supreme Court you can start and end at the Supreme Court. The governorship elections dispute, you can start from the Court of Appeal and end it there. You understand? We waste our time. We allow people to become beneficiaries of illegality, and then
and the Court of
then do we tell them, but the court does not tell them to refund all the money the salaries they've collected, because they were legally, from the point of the law, from the view of perspective of the law, they were never governors.
But you remember that until the Salami case, they were handing everything at the everything gubernatorial ended at the
Court of
Appeal Court. Yeah. It was after the judgments that brought in the allegation.
Right.
They now decided to take it further to the Supreme Court. Right. So one thing, because those who did the law were very clear. But Nigerian politicians will find a way to drag it wherever they can. No matter, because somebody who is obvious, if not met the 25% threshold.
Right.
In 23 states.
People just like to manipulate the polls in the system.
Well, that's where we have to wrap it for today's edition of Journalist Night. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for bringing your thoughts to bear on the several topics we discussed today. My guest in the studio has been Gani Kayode Balogun and Paul Dada. Thank you so much. That's it on Journalist